Alright, welcome back to Kick and Crochet. Today is exciting because we are going to actually start using some of our squares that we've made in all of these sample stitch patterns. So here I've already attached a bunch of my squares together, and what I'm going to make is a little bag. So this is going to actually be the back of my bag and part of the sides. So for this project you're going to need 13 of your squares. So pick whatever 13 are the closest together in size, because I know some of mine ended up kind of a little bit off. And if they're just a little bit different, that's okay, because they'll stretch a little bit or squish a little bit, and so you can kind of fudge it. But I had like one that was like an inch short or something, so I didn't use that one. Okay, so for the back panel, or the front panel, it doesn't matter, just one of your panels, you're going to do this design. So you've got two, well, it's easiest to think about with like a center square, and you're going to have squares all the way around except for the very top. So I don't have any square in the very top here. So this is going to be 8 squares. 2, 4, 6, 8. Okay. And then you need another panel that is going to be your other side, and you're going to need 5 squares for that. So a center and 4 surroundings, and you'll see why we're doing it that way. So you can choose any way you want to join these. From my last video about how to join crochet, you can pick any of the methods. For this one, I chose to do the slip stitch from the back because I know it's going to be inside of my bag, so it's not going to show, but it makes a nice seam on the front. So I chose to do that, but you can choose whatever method you would like. I haven't woven in my ends yet, but that's okay because I'm not done. Okay, so my back panel, so now I've got it upside down, so my back is actually facing down on the table because it will be my back. You can, pause the video, do this part, come back. I just didn't want to make you watch me sew all these together. So I did that off screen. So kind of lay it out. I tried to make it so that I didn't have 2 colors that were the same next to each other. So this is what it's going to be like. These are going to attach in here. And this bottom one's going to fold up to attach in here. So I have a few more seams. I've got these 2 seams, these 2 seams, and these 2 seams to sew together. But I'm not going to sew together these ones because that's going to be the top of my bag. And then we're going to attach handles to the top. We can either make a border and then sew handles, crochet handles, or we can crochet handles or buy handles actually if you want to, and attach them just to that without a border. So I'm going to sew these, well, crochet these together. I had to zoom out a little bit just to make it so you could see the project, so hopefully you can still see okay. I chose to use this. So I actually need to get the wrong sides, well, the right sides together. So this one, I'm going to turn it over like this because I need to sew this right here and this right here. So I'm going to start on this edge because as I work I go across this way. And these ones, so this is a side piece and this has stitches, so they're not exactly the same. So I'm going to use my trick of kind of pinning in the middle. And I'm not super worried about having the same stitch count for every side on this project. It can make a difference if we want to crochet a border on the top. So if you used granny squares or something, that would be really easy. Alright, but for this, I'm not going to worry about it. This is my funky patchwork crochet bag. Little sampler bag project. So I'm slip stitching across my bag. And I only have stitches on one side and I have side on the other, but on this side I'm only going through that back loop so that I have that ridge of loops poking out on the front, just because I like how that looks. And it's okay if I feel like I need to go through one stitch twice over there to make things line up. That's fine. Do whatever you gotta do. This is a project that the goal isn't perfection, okay? It doesn't have to line up exactly right, it doesn't have to be exactly even, it just has to be exactly awesome. So don't worry about it. Don't stress about it. I'm not even going to say do your best. Do your good enough on this one. I'll take out my stitch marker. And I just keep, making sure that I am aligned so that I'm going to end together. It's kind of the most important thing when you're doing these with different stitch counts. Okay, so that's one side. Now we're going to keep going. And this other one we need to hook on here. So I'll usually, if I'm switching corners, I'll go through the same corner again on the green, and then on the other side. I'm going to take a pause right here just to put my stitch marker in the middle. To help keep things straight. And I'll keep going. Again, since I've got actual stitches here, I'm going to go through the back loop only when I do those ones. Okay, so I'm done with that green one, and now you can see I've got the side of my bag sewn together. So there's one side sewn, to sew here. Alright, so now I'm going to work on the bottom, and I'm going to go turn it inside out. Because I want my seams to be on the inside. Okay, so I've got a bunch of seams here. So I've got this side coming down, up, and over. Actually, I can just do this. I could have done this whole thing continuously. Why didn't I do that? So I'm going to start here, and I'm going to work this way along this seam, and then down here, and then up here, and then down here, and then down here, and then down here, and then I'm done, because I'm not going to sew my tops together because I want to be able to open my bag. Okay. Okay, I'm actually going to pause the video to do this last part because it's going to take a little while. So all we're doing right now is sewing the rest of the seams on this bag. So I've turned it inside out. I'm going to sew down this side. I'm going to sew my bottom on, up this side and this side, but I'm not going to sew these top flaps at all. So work on that and then come on back. Alright, so I finished sewing on all my edges, so now I have this bag. Again, I haven't woven in the ends yet, but you can see that it's a bag, it's got the back, it's got the front. Actually, I think this is the front. Okay, so now all we have to do left is add the straps. So like I said, you could, if you want to, make a border around this edge. I'm choosing not to do that. I'm just going to attach straps on here. So I made this strap using basically the same pattern as this and the Mia headscarf. If you want to look at that, I used just up until it's 7 stitches wide. But this is where you can really let your creativity shine, right? You can come up with whatever strap you want and make it your own, because it is your own. Okay. So I've got this strap, and I'm almost out of green, so I'm going to have to make the second strap a different color. But that's okay. It's still going to be awesome. Maybe I'll make it this one. That'll look good. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to sew these on. So again, you can choose really whatever way you want to do it. You can use a needle and thread, or you can use, you can crochet it on, whatever you want to do. You could even use a sewing machine if you want to. I think I might use needle and thread for this one. Usually I would just crochet it on. Well, I said thread, I meant yarn. So I want mine to show. I could put it on the back if I want this to show, but I think it looks better on the front. So I am just gonna sew it on. Nothing too fancy about it. I'm not a great sewer. It's not one of my strengths, but it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be attached. And I want it, securely attached. I don't want it to fall off while I'm wearing it. So. I could go over this again if I want to, just to make sure it doesn't come off. And I've got to make sure that I sew this part down too if I don't want it to be flapping. So I'm going to come this way. Okay, then I'm just actually going to tie this in a knot, and then I will weave in the ends. So that's one side on. I've got to attach the other side. And I'm just going to attach this the same way. So you could make a strap that's like half double crochet or puff stitches or shells or bow stitches like I did. You could buy a pre-made strap at the store and put it on there. There are lots of options, so I encourage you to experiment a little and find one that you like. If you choose to do the same one as me, like I said, it's the pattern from the Mia headscarf, which is the same stitch pattern as this square. It's a little bit different though because I only did 7 rows. You have to skip some of the increase and decrease rows, but it's basically the same. And now I'm going up to get the corner in here. I think I made the other one a little lower when I sewed it on. That's okay. I always leave way too long a tails just so it's easier to make sure I'm not going to run out of yarn before I finish sewing. So my strap from one point to the other, and my strap is pretty stretchy, so I didn't want to make it too long. It's about 22.5 inches. So just make sure that you make both straps the same length, otherwise you're going to end up with a kind of funky bag. So that is that. I still have to make the other strap and attach it, but I'm going to make it just the same kind as that. So I hope you enjoyed this project. It's really fun and it's a great use of your scrap pieces, your little sample squares from learning all the different stitches. So I'd love to see pictures of your project. You can tag me on Instagram at kickin_crochet and I'll share your projects on Sunday. So happy crocheting. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel to get the next projects.